Product management is a funny discipline. We're going to look at a post today.
A week ago, somebody illuminated us on product management and how they become happy as a result of essentially waving the white flag and saying, I succumbed.
Yeah.
Let's see.
How can you be happy in product management? Let's look at that today. Let's look at one person's method. So there was this post on product management that's been making its rounds on LinkedIn. Here's what the post says. The title reads, as a product manager, I stopped doing product management and became happier as a result.
So anybody who's worked in product management would definitely be drawn to this, like a bee to a flower. It's like, okay, this guy's saying he became happy by stopping what he was doing
All right,
in
here we
product
go.
management.
I became enamored with product management after reading Inspired by Marty Kagan and drinking all the Kool-Aid like continuous discovery habits, etc.
That is an interesting sentence because he drops in Marty Kagan and his book, and then he says Kool-Aid. And so you look at that and you go, so did you really become enamored by that, or did you just read the book and say, nah, I don't like it?
It obviously doesn't work.
Yeah.
Obviously. It's just Kool-Aid.
Product management doesn't work here, right? This is a continuation of a theme.
Oh,
Agile doesn't work here, right? That was our previous podcast, everybody.
Man. Product management doesn't work here. What a great idea for a podcast.
Just doesn't work here.
Jeez. Yeah. Back to the article. I struggled for years trying to coach my teams, my stakeholders, my leadership on product management practices, but mostly it fell into deaf ears. Shouldn't it be onto deaf ears?
Yeah, onto.
The truth is people just want to deliver features.
Hold on, what's that? So first of all,
okay.
As a product person, they're saying that they try to coach for quote unquote many years and it fell onto deaf ears. To me, that smacks of they just didn't know how to coach. I'm sorry. You couldn't do that for many years and not be effective. Change your tactics, do something different. So that's the first thing I want to say about that. It's like, okay, it fell into deaf ears. So what do? I'm just going to give in. I capitulate.
Oh, sorry. I read that and I replaced all text of coach to communicate. And I read it as I'm bad at communicating. And I just got out of college and got this PM job at this FANG company. Mm-hmm. And I never really learned how to communicate in all my life. And now that I'm in a job that basically communication is the majority of the job, I find that I'm bad at communication, but I'm good enough in the role that the company wants me at where they don't wash me out.
Yeah, I'm bad at communication and I'm not going to start improving now because, like you said, I'm working at a fan company and they're keeping my pockets stuffed full of cash. I just like it that way.
Oh, we haven't got to that yet. Hang on. Back to the article. So I stopped doing product management. Executive A thinks we should build X. Yes, sir. Coming right up. Stakeholder B thinks we should do Y. Absolutely. I'll put it in the backlog. I become a glorified, high-paid order taker now, but I just don't care anymore. Product discovery? Ha! Why do it if no one understands the need for it? I'll just deliver the feature everyone thinks we should do. The next part is important to what we're about to talk about. The result, I'm much happier, less stressed, and I can get my $200K paycheck by coasting and playing the corporate game. Great if you can do real product management, but 97% of all companies don't care about it nor understand it. Anyone else with a similar epiphany or change like this?
Wow. Okay, first of all,
over to you.
I want his job. I really do. I'll take a huge pay raise right there, $200K. He's saying he tried to influence teams, and it didn't work, so he's giving up, basically, right?
I think it's Google and Microsoft that have pipelines from Ivy League MBA programs directly into their company.
There are those.
So there's a good chance that this person, this is the first job that they ever had. They basically were recruited out of school through an MBA program directly into product management. They read some books. They read some counterculture stuff to what they learned in school. They were kind of excited by it, had a good idea. Now they're in the real world, air quotes, real world, air quotes, because again, they work for Microsoft or Google or whatever. So now they're in the real world, all that stuff's kind of hitting home. And listen, if I could get out of college and get a job making $200K, I might have this attitude as well.
The younger me a few years ago, a long time ago actually, but might have done the same thing. So this is cool. I can get paid all this money. I don't really care. But that wouldn't last too long because you would get bored with yourself. If you're looking to make a difference, a real difference, you'd be like, yeah, the money's good, but I really don't have a purpose in my life. What am I going to do? I mean, am I just going to bank this check every month. So I would say, yeah, I'd enjoy the luxuries coming straight out of an MBA class, and yeah, enjoy that for a while. But for me, that would dry up pretty quickly because you're not making a difference. You're really not. I mean, he's saying he gave up, right? After trying, and it's like, okay, if you give up, what does that say? You're saying, I give up. If Executive A wants something, yes, sir, coming right up. Would you like fries with that?
Right.
That to me just says you're in it for you. That's it. So that person, while the money is fantastic, there may come a time when the tide changes, somebody else takes over, right? Where they say, well, what value are you bringing? You're out. And then that person is literally like out. How are they going to then land a job where they can make a difference? Because they've not learned. They've not learned by failing, I guess is what I'm saying. They've not learned by trying. They tried and then they gave up. Instead of they tried, they failed, they got up, dusted themselves off, learned something from that, tried something else, rinse and repeat. I mean, that the school of hard knocks, I guess, is how people describe that.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that part of it is I've been in large organizations where enough failure just gets you kicked from program to program. It doesn't get you fired. And also in large programs, the other thing I've seen in large programs is failure is mainly avoidable if you can shift the blame to the right people, or I guess the wrong people, I guess.
Yeah. Now you're onto something there. Absolutely. Yeah, there are certain techniques, I guess. I hate to even use that word. But people use them, right? Like they go into an organization and they go, okay, nothing really I don't understand. Everything seems to be working. I don't know about this domain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break something and I'm going to fix it really fast. Yeah. Then I'm going to go wave the flag and go, look at what I just did.
Yeah.
Right? And yeah, I mean, I've seen that in large companies where people do that and they're rewarded because people that are doing the rewarding, they just see that, oh, this person came in, they happened to see something that was counterproductive or whatever, and they did something that fixed it. Aren't they wonderful? Yeah. Let's promote them. I've seen that way too often in my career. This person, I think you're right. The kind of money that they say they're making, I mean, assuming they're not trolling, right? They are definitely in one of those companies, like the fan companies maybe.
Sure, yeah.
And the people that are evaluating these people are being fed what they are looking to be fed. Like, yes, sir, no, sir. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Right? We're going to do this for you. We can do this for you too. You're really not doing your position, I almost said title, but titles are meaningless at this stage. Yeah. Your position in any justice at all, right? So flip side of that is somebody who comes out of college, maybe just somebody, their peer, who comes out of the same MBA class, who wants to really become a product person and make a difference. You're doing them a huge disservice by simply throwing in the towel. I tried it, doesn't work.
Yeah. Okay. The other people they're kind of throwing under the bus is anybody who comes in as a Google, Microsoft. They have pipelines out of MBA programs into product management at their companies. But the other thing that I believe, I could be wrong on this, but I believe they have is associate product manager programs where people come in and try to learn the ropes. Mm-hmm. And the terrible thing here is that you get rolled under one of these people who's kind of checked out. And now what are you learning? The other thing, to go back to what I was kind of pointing out, that kind of scares me about this environment is what happens when you build the wrong thing and then you have to wheel it back to build the right thing after you're spending all the development time and effort to build the wrong thing. You've blown all your dates out of the water and you've used all your goodwill with the leadership or executives or other departments or customers or whoever it is or people online. In the case, I almost guarantee this person does not build mobile apps in app stores. Almost guaranteed.
Absolutely.
What happens when you burn through all your goodwill or money or political capital or whatever? What happens then? If you had done some experimentations, if you had started with data and you had seek to fill in the holes first, so what happens when you actually do fail? That's where I'm going with this. And the reason I bring this up, just to show all my cards, is because I've been in quite a few shops where executives come down and say, just build feature X. Okay, cool, we built feature X. Now the metrics say that no one is using feature X. Okay, well, we built how many features that no one uses? How long can we do that until the management just cuts the whole team? Maybe he works for Google and that's never going to happen. Doesn't matter. There's 50 teams on one program. And he's never judged by failures. Maybe he's got his engineering manager or whatever that's judged by that kind of stuff. Or maybe their metrics are totally jacked up on the back end where they're never measured by effectiveness. They're never measured by daily active usage. They're never measured by total number of users in their application, successes, failures, stuff like that. Maybe in the environment, they're never measured like that. So like when I say that, I'm like, well, if that's true, I doubt very much he's working for Microsoft or Google, because I doubt very much they're not saying, oh, you didn't get any new users? Okay, it's fine. It's cool.
I think to go back to the question you posed, like what happens if, right? Oftentimes it's escapism and scapegoating, right? So these people would say, okay, we tried this. Wasn't that your idea, Fred or Mary, right?
Right.
And yeah, it wasn't a good idea at all.
Yeah.
So the way it gets framed, whether it was their idea or not, the way it gets framed to leadership is we failed because somebody suggested something, we tried it out, I gave them the chance to experiment.
Right.
This was a null hypothesis, basically, right?
But experiment in that case means building the whole solution, taking whatever 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or whatever. That's experimenting in that situation is the most expensive version of experimenting.
It's not even the fact that you're failing in the marketplace.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you're seen to be failing. So it's the rep damage. It's the reputation damage that is way, way more than just the loss of rep.
Is it the fact that really have to have a razor sharp finance people to measure the impact on your brand? And most people just don't have that or do that.
It is. It's exactly that. So people that are measuring things, it's not just finance, right? Are they measuring the right things? Are they looking at the standard things that people talk about, like ROI and things like that, where I is very difficult to quantify because it's how do you quantify the amount of money at the end of the day invested? That's one thing. The other thing is that your money or are you borrowing it, right? If you're borrowing it, then it's a different measure because it's not your money. So it's the return of capital invested and the cost of that capital to raise that capital. There's so many different financial measures that can be used. But yeah, absolutely. Somebody needs to have a razor sharp focus on this and figure out whether this avenue is potentially viable or not. And you can't do that by building a feature or building a product, worse yet, right? Mm-hmm. Putting it out there and say, oh dear, not many people used it, right? Do this as a real experiment, which is partner with your customers, get a select group that express interest in this after you've put out the polls, etc., and get them in, shorten the chain, bring them in and say, here's what we're thinking. It's in the lab still. You can play with it. If you really want to use it in your actual product, put it out there with a quote-unquote switch. We were talking about this earlier. The customer has complete control over if and when they want to turn on the switch to experiment with a new feature. If they like it, they can keep the switch on. No one else sees it except them. If they don't like it, and if really, things go awry, then they can turn it off real fast. They don't have to wait for the company to deploy to production a fix or a retraction of any kind, right?
I don't know, man. Now, this guy making $200K seems to disagree. He's like, he's just going to build it with his development team, and then
he's going to say yes. He's a yes man at this point for $200K.
I mean, hey, sign me up, I guess. I don't. The other thing that I've seen that I think is even more damaging, like the damaging to the company in building things with your budget and spending people's time that you haven't necessarily proved that that's the correct thing to spend time on. That is damaging, number one. But also, number two, when you go and build something that customers don't like or customers can't use, won't use, not feasible to use, customer usability is not done, maybe you couldn't get UI, UX time or whatever. I don't know. There are a million reasons. One of the things you said was, well, whoever's idea it was originally, whoever lobbied for it, they kind of get blamed. Okay. But I've also been in situations where the people who lobby for the changes, like VPs, salespeople, stuff like that, like they're a little too high on the food chain to get blamed. So then it rolls down to like, this is going to be, you're going to laugh when I throw this one out there. I almost want to cut to the wide angle just to get your reaction on camera. It basically rolls down to whoever it can roll down to based on like the highest paid person in the room. I specifically remember working in a work center where when something like this happens and you're like, oh, the usability of this feature is not really great. Hey, Who tested this from the QA team? Which tester tested this? How come this wasn't tested better?
Yeah, how come we didn't catch all this stuff?
How come we didn't catch all these
So
bugs?
it's no longer a strategic design or market fit issue. It's just simply a catch this issue, right?
Who can we look to blame?
Down the road.
That's right.
Right? No, this is the scapegoatism that is so prevalent. That's why there are so many people out there across the industry in PM, not just FANG companies, but lower tier companies where this is prevalent, this blame game that happens. What I do find is this: people like that never get blamed or seldom get blamed. What they tend to do, though, is they will say, okay, I'm going to fix this. Remember now, this is not a situation that they prevented to begin with. This is the hero, right?
Yeah.
So they come in and they say, well, that's clearly not the right product. Why don't we try this? And if by any happenstance that fix, the pivot, lands, like even if it's like sticking to the wall for a little bit longer, that's it, right? That's it. They get the credit and they move to another company in an elevated position. Right, I have seen that way too often. I call that rising to the highest level of incompetence.
But also this is Deming's red bead experiment, where like the fact that you pulled we'll cover this in the Deming podcast.
Deming podcast.
Yeah, the mini Deming podcast, the 2-hour Deming podcast. But also the red bead experiment, the people that pull less red beads, it's like statistically speaking, like if you play the game long enough, like the casino, the house always wins. Mm-hmm. So in the first round when you do the experiment, like you laud the people who pulled less red beads, like, oh, look, these people are so great. Why are you guys pulling so many red beads? Look at these people. They did it. Therefore, everybody should be able to do it, right?
Yeah.
What is your problem? You guys are fired. You got to get out of here. You're dismissed from the experiment. Go home. You win. You win nothing. This is the same thing. Like statistically speaking, like if you work in a company like this and you keep going through with no kind of control over what work comes in, right? Because your person who's in charge of controlling the work coming in basically has decided to check out
and say yes to everything.
When I saw this post, the first thing that I thought of was, oh, look, here's someone who's really burnt out. That was the first thing I thought of. I was like, this person is really burnt out. And had they sat down with their leadership with proper one-on-ones, maybe they could have expressed this. I'm going out on a limb now and guarantee that he sat down with his boss and his boss like, whatever, I don't even know. Like, where do you even work? I don't even know.
Who are you?
Who are you? Get out of my office. I'm going to play golf. Get out of my office. But his burnout would have been detected in some way, shape, or form, and then would have gotten help. I would hope that, again, assuming that he's not just working for like some chief product officer who's actually just a sales guy that they got from whatever, some other big Microsoft or whatever, you know.
Yeah. He should have been offered some therapy by somebody higher up. But in this case, just looking at this, it doesn't sound like he went to any great distance to remediate the issue. I mean, honestly, that's what I see in there. It's like, I tried, it didn't work, so whatever. I'm going to sit here and just coast.
He says he struggled for years to coach his teams and stakeholders and leadership on product management practices, and then it fell on deaf ears, right? He says, and then he says his truth is people just want to deliver features.
I see that differently, though. I read between the lines clearly, but I see that as I tried, it didn't work, right? So now I'm just saying, yeah, I'll just coast along, whatever they say, I'm just going to say yes to. Right. Here's what I see there. I see that as his inability to effectively coach. That's what I see. I think he should have looked at what is not working about this, right? Mm-hmm. Why would you do the same thing over and over? Maybe I'm assuming again that he only did the same thing over and over, but it didn't work. So why wouldn't you get help with that? Maybe whatever that looks like, you get some experts in, or just yourself
Oh,
equip
boy.
yourself.
Like you're on the right track with this one because again, like we don't know where this person works. So assuming they do work for Google, like Google has full-time Agile coaches on staff. There are people you could have reached out to.
Yeah, we don't have to delve into it, but I'm just saying, like, wouldn't you try that first if you were that person instead of saying, "Well, I'm just going to sit back and."
I mean, maybe
cash the check.
Like, again, I like in the large organizations I've been part of, like reaching outside of your direct organizational unit is
taboo. Yeah.
Very taboo.
Yeah.
Especially if all the Agile coaches are in a different business practice or organizational unit or community of practice, but the community of practice actually is another organization under another director or
heaven forbid if it's a freaking PMO or something.
That's what I'm saying. If all
and there's cross charges and all that crap.
Cross charges among business units. Like if you have that kind of organizational setup, then doing this not only could it cost you real money, but also it's going to cause a big hassle for your leadership or whatever. Like, hey, how come you don't have this talent in house?
We're paying you enough.
Why do you have this one person going rogue? Basically, that's the way it'll look on paper.
Yeah.
Rather than saying, well, all the y'all that are that's my southern version of saying everyone, all the y'all that are drinking the Marty Kagan Kool-Aid, rather than saying it that way, I would argue like in your culture. They don't really have a taste for experimentation. Okay, well, let's talk about why your culture does not have the taste for experimentation. Okay?
Right.
Let's talk about that. Let's break that down and try to really understand that. I don't see that has happened here. I don't see that, like, my culture doesn't have a taste for experimentation because, okay, we talked about in the last podcast, contracting, hardcore contracting, time and materials, fixed cost contracting. So if you're in the fixed cost contracting world, I completely understand this. I'm trying to figure out a way to take the opposite viewpoint, but I need to get past where I'm at mentally to get to where you're at so I can figure out what the opposing viewpoint is.
Sure.
I need to go past, have you, as product, asked enough questions about your business space to figure out why the company is not about experimentation, why your coaching is not taking, why your, dare I say, leadership is not taking, right?
Yeah.
We can even say management. Like if he's got an MBA, why your Ivy League management that you spent a whole bunch of money on, why that's not taking in this environment. Let's try to figure out why. So give me some answers as to why this stuff is not taking in your environment before we say, you guys are just drinking the Kool-Aid, this Marty Kagan stuff doesn't work. Let's talk about your culture, because there's a famous quote about culture eats something.
Culture eats strategy for breakfast. It's Peter Drucker that said
Drucker,
that.
Yeah. That's this in action. Like, hey, you got the best strategy in the world. Your strategy is to couple customers, figure things out, change your tactics. But here, your culture is sabotaging all of that. Your culture is not letting you operate any of that stuff. So, hey, make a decision. Forget all your best practices and just do what we tell you.
Right.
And collect your $200K, or go somewhere else so you can actually be successful and enjoy your life. You know? Or stay here and don't enjoy your life.
Well, I guess it depends on their definition of enjoyment. It might be just banking the $200K. I agree with that. I think
I can have a lot of enjoyment with $200K.
Absolutely. $200K definitely buys a lot of enjoyment. So whoever said money can't buy happiness didn't have enough money, clearly. Just to extend that a little bit, definitely culture eats strategy for breakfast. But what underpins culture is the structure of the organization, quite clearly. So where this person is at, wherever that may be, maybe the structure is not conducive to experimentation, taking any risks, even if they're calculated, all of those things. Maybe they're just simply really focused on, here's the money, here's what we want, go get it, right? And then this person tries to get it, it didn't work. Okay, let me give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's not the fact that it didn't work, because certain things, especially the things that he's calling out, continuous discovery, those kinds of things aren't like you do something and a few sprints later there's the result magically. Mm-hmm. It takes time because you're shaping the culture of the organization. But if the structure is rigid, you're not going to be able to do that.
But I don't even understand. I don't even understand that statement. I understand what you're saying, but if someone were to walk up to me in the street, or come up to me at a networking event, or propose in a networking event, if someone were to say that continuous discovery it doesn't really work in our environment. I would hear all that and it would just zip like straight through my ears because I'm like, well, like what doesn't work? Like you're in continuous discovery. You may be engaging your development team to help you with some of the discovery tasks and habits, right? You might be employing your whole team to do discovery, but also it might just be you and the other product managers or associate product managers or whatever you have. If you have the benefit of having people in product management, that would be nice.
Sure.
To have a second person or whatever, or to be extended via BA or something like that. That'd be nice. Or have a UI UX person to help you, you know what I mean, talk to and interview customers and do little tests and stuff. Like none of that requires that you actually engage the development team. I could think of a lot of stuff to do as a product manager and never even engage the development team to stay ahead of the development team. If I'm reacting poorly to this post, that's part of why. Is in a large part of my day-to-day job as a product manager, I'm doing experimentation, I'm doing tests, and I'm doing research, all three, that potentially don't even involve the development team. And I'm doing that in order to stay well ahead of where the team is at. Well before the team gets there, I have been there, and I know basically what it looks like. If we're climbing a mountain and the team is like, hey, why are we taking this path? At least I have seen the path before, even if only a couple steps in front of the team, and I can say, oh, we're taking this path because, and I can give them a why.
I agree, first of all, but that is what enables that, right, is having enough rope to work with. If your organization says, no, you can't do that, that's just wasting money. I need the results now. And so you're always clamoring for something. You're going to get tired pretty quickly running on the hamster wheel. And you're going to do what this guy did. It's just going to say, all right, not making a difference here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say yes to everybody. And therefore do a disservice to the field of PM in general, right? Product management.
Yeah, but
he's not doing it maliciously. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying,
yeah, but
he's doing for what's good for him.
What's he doing with the rest of his time? Like taking naps and keeping himself de-stressed? Like what? Like,
nothing wrong with that. I'm a big fan of naps. But hey, listen, at $200K, yeah, I'd take a few naps. I don't know. Seriously, I don't know. I doubt that this person is doing things like you said, experimentation, trials, all of those sorts of things. It doesn't sound like that to me. And I'm not blaming him at this stage. I'm saying maybe it's the environment he's in. Maybe it's the corporate culture that restricts him from doing that.
Luckily, that's why I'm here, because I'm on the blaming this person's side of the table. Like I'm on the blaming side of the table. Like Ohm's on the you're terrible at coaching side of the table, and I'm on the you're terrible at being a PM side of the table. Like this is not the podcast. This is not the arguing Agile podcast. This is the berating Agile podcast today. I love how in this topic, when we read it, your immediate first reaction was, oh, maybe your coaching skills aren't that great, and then maybe there are other people in the organization that can help you kind of train up in those coaching skills. Have you reach out to them? Like, I don't see anything in here about that.
Or external people, right? Go get some help. Nothing wrong with that. People shouldn't feel bad about that because we can't be all great at everything.
This is why I feel for my career, I have such an advantage now being in product, but having a period in my career where I spent time as a Scrum Master / Agile coach, because I am aware of what should be happening in the organization for my teams, between teams, and when I'm in organizations that basically don't have Scrum Masters and whatever, and I'm sort of aware of who's doing that job, but I also know that these people are doing it as a side job, as a tangent kind of job. They're doing it in their part-time, and I know that anybody who does this stuff part-time is, I'm not going to say they're not going to succeed. I will just say they will never be as effective as someone who is professionally doing this job. Yeah. It's like having a part-time developer. I'm a part-time developer and a part-time, I don't know,
janitor, whatever.
Janitor,
yeah. It's part-time is one of those things where people say, well, I'm going to split my time. Yeah, well, this is an age-old thing. We've talked about it in the past as well. 30% developing on this team and then 30% on that team, and all that context switching costs and everything else.
Right.
Beyond all of that is that inner vesting. Which team are you vested with?
Right.
Really?
Right.
You know, I'm learning great skills over there, new techniques, new tools, but this is the team that really matters from an organizational standpoint. So I don't care about that. right? Because I personally can benefit by learning about, I don't know, diamonds on rails, whatever the next new thing is.
Ruby on
Pass
Rails.
Ruby.
No.
So yeah, so I that whole thing about time slicing people across strategic initiatives that really matter is a fallacy, right? We've been saying that, but it's still prevalent out there.
Let's hit a comment or two.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Okay, so the top comment here says, I always think about it like this. There are 3 versions of the job. Number 1, outcome driven. PMs are responsible for finding the best possible solutions to deliver on outcomes. This is, I think, the most pure version of the job, because when no one is telling you what to build, you really need to do things like discovery, use data, design thinking, etc. to find the best ideas. Number 2, you're held to outcomes, but other people completely dictate what you build. Okay, so the stats...
That's the second version.
The stats don't match what... Okay, and then number 3, your version, I think, in parentheses, where people just tell you what to do. So order taker PM. So is his summary of what he thinks of 3 different types of PMs. And then he gives his feedback on what he thinks. So number 1, the outcome-driven PM who does things based on what they believe, their findings about the outcomes and their direction based on outcomes, he thinks is the most rewarding. Number 2, he describes as hell on earth, being held to outcomes, but then judged against basically the feelings of
the whims and desires. Yeah,
which
yeah.
I will say, like number 2, I think he's
right.
He's pretty dead on. Number 2 of, I've been in a lot of organizations that are like they try to be outcome driven with data driven, outcome driven, whatever. But when it comes to the yearly review, it's a lot of like, we heard this and this manager thinks this and whatever, and like not a lot of stats in them yearly reviews, which is a whole different podcast. But number 3, exactly what you're saying, not a bad way to make a paycheck if you can just accept that it's an awful way to build software, but who cares?
I want to say a couple of things about that, right? I think the guy nailed the 3 different types. However, I do feel like where he talks about experimentation, it isn't about the person wanting to experiment, right? It's about the organizational DNA allowing for that, encouraging for failures to happen. Because when you experiment, not every experiment is a success. So when you try something and you demonstrate what you learn from it, that I don't know if this person has in whatever company they work for. I doubt it, because they are now effectively, to their own account, an order taker.
We're at this point in the podcast where I'm starting to wonder if they're just not good at data-driven, evidence-based type of...
I suspect they're not if they're just being sourced data from an MBA class. Seriously.
But I mean, I work with a lot of salespeople who are very passionate and very good about making their cases. Hey, we need to add PDF support for this mobile app, where this mobile app can spit out an export in the CSV and Excel and share this file or whatever, but also we need to add PDF. Okay, well, like CSVs and Excel you can import into your system and immediately use them. PDFs you can't really export and import into another system. Like, why would we do PDFs? Well, the customer workflow is this and that with PDFs, and this and that and this and that. Basically, they're trying to make a sale. They're trying to leverage a feature that we don't have to try to get you to build it in order to make that sale. And the salesperson is very good at understanding the customer workflow in order to make the sale.
Yeah.
Okay, the product version of that is, okay, I'll pick up on that the salesperson is operating in this sphere, and start looking at other adjacent customers in that market space, or maybe other customers that you could make additional sales should we have this functionality, and start exploring, like, hey, here's the user interface. How much do you think this would be worth? You know what I mean? Maybe send some surveys out. Maybe send some mock-ups up with the feature there, and see if customers change their mind. I don't know. Like, how hard is it to mock up a screen and send it to half a dozen customers? I mean, you could leverage your salesperson and their contacts to do that. Like that.
Yeah.
Again, none of what I just said. What I just said was pretty far-fetched, right? It was pretty meta, pretty up in the air. However, it requires 0 time from the development team. Everything I just said requires 0 time from the development team. So what I'm saying is, like, the more I'm reading, the more we talk about this post, the more I'm suspecting, like, he's just not good at crafting a software development style argument.
Yeah, so he may be somebody who comes from a non-software environment, right? as a product person into a software environment because he said he's been trying for years and it hasn't worked, right? I think without really giving it, quote unquote, his best shot, he seems to be somebody who says, hey, who cares? I'm getting paid handsomely for this. I'm just going to say, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am, right? Just be the yes man. And that's a terrible shame because you're really not helping the company you're working with in the role that they've appointed you for, which is product management.
Right.
So what happens then if they replace this person with just somebody that is way less paid than 200K, who simply says, whatever order it is, I'll just enter in the system?
I would argue if/when this product and or company, because it could be either. It could be the specific product or feature he or she maintains, or it could be the company itself. Assuming that, like, let's just say that we've been wrong the entire time and they don't work for a FANG company. They work for an SMB fintech or something like that, right?
Okay.
And they're just overpaid basically for their position. You're absolutely right. What happens when the company or product runs into some rocky times? Like, you're going to get cut. This person's going to get cut.
If he's smart, he would jump before he gets cut. But yeah, I know what you mean. Or if he's really, really smart, he would step aside and say, timber, right? Like, okay, impending doom, and then suggest something that helps at least alleviate some of the pain and take all of the credit.
I could see this person getting cut and the responsibility handed over to like a lead developer or something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, somebody junior on the pay scale at least.
Product management doesn't work here, is what I'm saying.
Right. Oh, product management doesn't work here. Yeah, product management doesn't work, or product management doers of product management don't work here.
I can see him blaming it all on Scrum or Agile or whatever.
Yeah, they probably don't understand what that is, but yes, they can do that. They can say, how can I possibly deliver something when I have a 2-week period to show something in, right? Or you give me 3 of those, but still.
Yeah.
I really need much, much longer, right? So it doesn't work here. It doesn't work for us.
Yeah.
There's many reasons why.
I could easily see this one leading into product management / Agile doesn't work here / Scrum, right? And I could easily see this one leading into, we got to do all the requirements up front. We got to do all the development up front, take 6 months, code our thing, do a big bang deployment. We need to bring in a technical product manager. I could easily see this leading to that.
Yeah.
Especially if this person, he didn't say anything, he or she doesn't say anything about the number of teams that work for them, or if they even have teams. Actually, now I'm thinking about it.
Good point.
I don't even know if they have teams. Something that I've seen with the Silicon Valley PMs is they're like, oh, I'll just partner with my engineering lead, and then basically the PM and the engineering lead talk and decide what to do, and then the engineering lead just goes back to a gaggle of developers and says, okay, you're going to build this, and you're going to build this, and you're going to build this, and that's their method of development. So if they're that style of company, it doesn't strike me that any of this is out of the ordinary. Actually, not like if everything is completely in focus. If they're that style of company, also if they're that style of company, and you're a PM and you're getting paid $200K, oh boy, you should really be worried.
Agreed, absolutely. So now we're saying it's really the org, not so much this person and his or her competency, right? Could be, but I have a sneaking feeling that if that were the case, there would be some really close-up scrutiny on what is being delivered. Mm-hmm. Like, people aren't going to just simply let you work for many, many months, right? And all you're doing is saying yes, because that can only get you so far. Because you can't say yes to everything, so you can't possibly deliver on everything. So when you do fail, questions should be asked, I would imagine, by people higher up and say, well, but you said, and you said, and you said, and you only delivered one of those. So it would soon come out in the wash that you're just taking orders. Unless they're very adept at blaming others all the time.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I was going. Especially think about the culture where they don't have a team. They don't have a team. They don't go to daily scrums. They don't have refinements. They just pass everything to their engineering manager, and then the engineering manager engages the team. So now they just say, well,
the dev team failed us.
Yeah, Ohm told me that the dev team could deliver, and so now they go to Ohm, and it's like, hey, Ohm, listen, your new yearly goals are you have to deliver 90% of the features you say you're going to commit to. You got to deliver them in the sprint. So now we're going to be judging you based off of if you committed, the team committed, did they deliver?
Yeah.
So we're like, that's your new OKRs. My objective is you deliver what I say you're going to do, and the key results is you delivered what I'm going to say you do. We're doing OKRs now. You like my OKRs?
I love that.
Great.
I love
Awesome.
that. That's awesome.
That'll be a 15-second short right there. Hey, we're gonna
These
got a great idea. We're gonna do OKRs for our development. My O in the the objective is you deliver everything I say, and the key result is did you deliver it? Yes or no? How do you like that?
Yeah. Can we just do KPIs instead?
What does that mean?
I don't know. I'm deflecting because obviously they're not OKRs. Nothing's objective about it, right? We haven't defined what key results mean or what constitutes a result. But coming back to the main topic here, people like this are very adept at tap dancing, corporate tap dancing. Walking on ice, basically, right? You're just tiptoeing on sheets of ice. You make sure you stay airborne or landborne, float. Make sure you don't crash through the ice, because that is not a pleasant experience.
Yeah.
Some people are very good at that, and they take it to an art form and indeed make a living out of this. And it sounds like this person is doing that. Whoever you are, feel free to let us know on our podcast if you'd like to come on and talk about some of the stuff that you're posting out there. I would love to engage in a dialogue with you. I would love that. I would love it. Especially if you're buying the drinks, which you would be.